Good evening, everyone, and welcome. It's time to call this meeting of the San Felipe Del Rio CISD Board of Trustees to order. Today being Monday, November 17, 2025. Mr. Secretary, would you call roll first?
Yes, sir. Mrs. Luna Chavez.
Present.
Mr. Almaraz.
Here.
Mr. Overfelt.
Here.
Mr. Mesa.
Here.
Mrs. Webb. Mrs. Haynes.
Here.
Sir, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Let the record show that we do have a quorum of board members and that this meeting has been duly called in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. At this time, we will have opening ceremonies, and we're going to observe 2 moments of silence. Or, we have 2 people that are dear to us. One represented the San Felipe Del Rio CISD on the appraisal board. That's Mr. Stephen Webb. And we had a long-term employee by the name of Pete Peters that managed the warehouse that also passed. So could we do a moment of silence, please? Please stand. We'll follow with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Mr. Webb was also the husband of Linda Webb, our board member. That's one of the reasons she's not here today. This time we'll follow our agenda. We're on item 4, recognitions of fine arts presentation. Jane Villarreal.
Hello, Mr. Mesa, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. It is my pleasure to recognize Abigail Leonor, a talented student musician at Del Rio High School, who recently represented our district at the Texas Music Educators Association Regional Orchestra auditions in San Antonio. Abigail earned the distinguished honor of being selected the first chair at Region 29 Concert Orchestra, a remarkable achievement that reflects her dedication, discipline, and exceptional musicality. This recognition places her among the top musicians in our region, which spans much of North San Antonio and surrounding areas such as Bernie, Kerrville, and includes private schools, charter schools, and homeschoolers. We are proud of Abigail's accomplishments and commend her for her hard work and commitment to musical excellence. Congratulations also goes to her orchestra teacher, Mr. Timothy Garza, and her parents, Anthony and Angela Leonor, for their continued support and encouragement. Tonight, she will play the 2 songs she prepared for the auditions. Scenes from the Childhood, Opus 15 by Schumann, and 12 Etudes of Dexterity, Opus 41 by Ferenc. Please welcome Abigail Leonor.
What a wonderful presentation. I think all of us enjoyed it so much and so talented. Congratulations on your accomplishments. And to your music teacher, great job. It was awesome. Thank you so much. And I think your mom was one of my students.
Music class.
Okay, we don't have any citizens that signed up for comments, so we're going straight into reports. Item 8 on the agenda. First item we have is San Felipe Adoro CISD Education Foundation Annual Report. Mr. Eddie Amezcua Jr. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Let me get situated here. Let me make this bigger. Perfect. Good evening, President Mesa, Board, Dr. Rios. Today, we're here to give you the annual report. It has been a good year for us, I must say, and we got some good information to give you here. So the board consists of myself as president, Ms. Dora Fernandez, vice president, Dr. Carlos Rios, secretary, and Heralda Martinez, treasurer. The members we have is Aaron Rodriguez, Mr. Billy Guerra, Mr. Diego Almaraz Jr., Mr. George De Leon, Ms. Griselda Martinez, Ms. Jenny Garcia, Mr. Jorge Jurado, Ms. Melissa Sanchez, Ms. Nanza Rodriguez, Mr. Peter Ojeda, and Ms. Yanakani Valdez. Our goal, like every year, is to make sure that we recognize educators' initiative and creativity to recognize students' achievement and in the work that they do. We do have a couple fundraisers. We do the Adventure on the Creek, and we have the dinner. That's our most two events that bring us the money. Here are some pictures of us giving the scholarships and some of the innovative teaching grants that we have given. If you look at your last one, Lamar, with the kids with the cooking hats, that is Lamar Elementary, the culinary kids. They're doing a wonderful job. They were also at Adventure of the Creek, giving out snacks that they made themselves and goodie bags to the runners and the participants. Obviously, our scholarships for high school seniors, this year we did 28 scholarships, totaling $19,000. A tradition which began during the pandemic, and the board members took the time personally to hand deliver scholarship awards, yard signs to each scholarship recipient. I know this is a small one, but this is all the projects that we granted this year. Like I said, we had 19 total of, what's a small one? Over $26,000. Oh, 26 grants, over $44,000. Sorry about that. Again, fundraising, it's Adventure on the Creek is one of our main ones. We moved it to December this year. It was our 5th annual Adventure on the Creek on November 1st. It was a great success, 36 relay teams and 22 individuals, including 3 of your members, which finished it under an hour and 22 minutes. So congratulations to I think it was Dad Bods, right?
We'll do better next year.
We tried.
Thank you for the participation. Maybe next year we do it a single and see who wins between them. Lots of fun, and we've been getting good feedback from them. They've been calling us, people from out of town, people from, across the sister city, Ciudad Acuña. They're excited when we put this, project together. So we're getting more and more notoriety across the state of Texas. The fundraising efforts, annual dinner and auction. This year, the event was hosted by us, the flagship fundraiser. It is through this event that we are able to raise the most money that we have for teaching grants. This year, we do have the date already, April 10th, 2026. So please save the date, as this is our main fundraiser that we have. And of course, we couldn't do this without our partners, our fundraising, cumulative. We have partners across Del Rio that always helps us, and across Texas. Here are some of the companies and people that do help us. I'll leave that out there for a second to give them their due. Now to get to the good part, the financial summary. Our adventure in the creek this year, we raised over $9,000. And that was just a typo. It says $60,000. I wish we would have done that, but we raised over $9,000. Compared to last year, we did a little bit over $6,000. So it was a success for this year, Adventure on the Creek. The dinner and auction that we have, a live auction, on 2024, we finished a little bit over $60,000. And this year, we hit $74,836. So again, moving with bigger monies this year on both of our fundraising events. Here we go. Programs funded. Last year, we funded $29,428. This year, we funded $44,792 as ITG grants. So we made more money, we gave more money. And then the scholarships, last year we did $10,000, this year we did $19,000. Again, all because of the efforts the community have put together with us and helping us raise the funds. Where the money is at, we do have $101,220 in Texas Community Bank. That's our operating account. BFCU, we have a CD totaling of $55,318. We have another CD at Board of Federal Credit Union totaling $20,424. And we do have a Bank and Trust CD. It says money market. We just transferred it. That's going to equal $20,000 as well. Again, we call ourselves, the booster of the teachers, the innovating grants that they do. When you're reading these grants, it's, unbelievable. It's something that, it's one of my favorite parts, that I get to do. And, seeing the kids' faces as you see here and seeing the impact that we're doing with not only the grants, but the scholarships, it's been a great success in my opinion. So at this point, I'll leave it up to questions if you have any.
I'll turn it over to board members for questions. Mr. Armesto, I just want to say it's a concerted effort from everyone, and I appreciate everything because at the teacher convocation, the teachers get so excited when they're called that their project was, awarded, scholarship for their project. And all of these projects, involve learning and experience, things that they do with either water from the San Felipe River. And I've seen so many innovative projects that they bring forward for the Education Foundation. And of course, the scholarships is another thing that there was a point in time, I've been on the board for this for a very long time, but anyway, before we did not award so many scholarships, and now, and it all goes for the students because again, they're the ones that are going to be furthering their education and coming back and perhaps serving the community in a bigger capacity. So we appreciate everything that is done by, again, the Education Foundation and from every member and volunteer. And we applaud the efforts of 3 of the board members. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it was excellent. I think they were kind of sore the next day, but other than that, it was great, and appreciate the support that y'all giving us. You heard last year to this year we did better. That's our goal again for next year. So thank you very much.
There are some Members present, can they stand up and be recognized, sir?
Yes. So again, April 10th is our date. Don't forget, write it down. Bring some cash for the silent auction and the auction items. So can't wait to see y'all. And I believe we're gonna do denim and diamonds for the theme this year. So
Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
I'm already saving my money for the graduation package.
there you go.
I
There you go. Yeah.
I think y'all are gonna make some crazy money on that one.
It's a popular one. So I think we're starting at 5,000 this year. So
Okay.
thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, we go on to our next report, and that is item B under 8, Targeted and Local Improvement Plans, Iris Oka. Welcome.
Hello. Good evening, Board President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. An updated copy of the presentation was placed in your workbooks. Today, I will be presenting our targeted and local improvement plans that are being requested by our Texas Education Agency. First and foremost, I'd like to present that we are recipients of the LASSO 3 grant, and it does require to develop a targeted improvement plan for all 3 middle schools. Now, Garfield made tremendous growth this past school year. However, Texas Education Agency requires that Garfield maintain the year 2 under a targeted improvement plan. The 5 campuses that are required to submit, the 3 campuses are Garfield Middle School, which is a comprehensive progress support year 2, Del Rio Middle School, targeted support for emergent bilingual and special education indicators. Now, San Felipe Memorial Middle School is a LASSO 3 grant recipient, which is why we're also submitting a targeted improvement plan. Now, we also have 2 local improvement plans, Buena Vista Elementary, which is a C state rating, and Ruben Chavira Elementary with a D state rating. Now, the local improvement plans are not required to be submitted to the state. However, we do have to maintain them on file. 5% of local improvement plans are requested to be submitted in the spring. So when we submit through a Qualtrics survey, which then uploads automatically to ISAM. Some of the things that we submit are the funding, what are we using, our grants. In this case, we're using it for instructional coaching, to support campus leaders, and building capacity through coaching for teachers. For middle school, the curriculum that is in place for 25-26 school year, we have for math, the McGraw-Hill Texas Math for grades 6 through 8. However, for RLA, grade 6 still uses the McGraw-Hill study, and in grades 7, 8, they use the HMH curriculum. What are some of the improvement plans that we have set in place for our middle schools? We have Capturing Kids' Hearts, District Instructional Playbook, Digital Campus Student Data Tracking, Observation and Feedback Teacher Coaching, School-wide Culture and Routines Coaching, Campus Guiding Coalition Teams, PBIS, which is Positive Behavior Intervention System Training, minute-by-minute routines and procedures, and of course, our LASSO 3, Texas Instructional Leadership Framework support. Now, how have we involved stakeholders throughout the process? We've offered opportunities through our Campus Guiding Coalition team planning meetings, minute-by-minute routine procedures, stakeholder planning. parent middle school redesign informational meetings that started last school year. We have our back-to-school student parent orientation meetings, as well as student parent meetings throughout the year. A little bit about our LASSO 3 grant, which was awarded to the 3 middle schools. We are working in partnership with Region 15. They do provide PD for principals, assistant principals, cluster leaders. They help us conduct walkthroughs with principals to make sure that we calibrate. They mediate meetings with TEA. They assist in goal setting and data collections. And they do submit required quarterly reports to TEA. Now for our 2 local improvement plans. Now, why are they in this category? Because they are targeted support campuses. When a student group that misses the target in the same 3 indicators for 3 consecutive years is considered consistently underperforming and determined to be a targeted support and improvement campus. In this case, we have Ruben Chavira Elementary and Buena Vista Elementary. What are we using for curriculum in our local improvement plans for elementary? For math, we're using the Blue Bonnet curriculum for all grade levels, kinder through 5th. However, for reading, we use the Texas MyView Literacy for kinder through 2nd grade, while 3rd through 5th grade uses the McGraw-Hill Wonders. Some of the supports that are in place are the district instructional playbook, the digital campus student data tracking, the observation and feedback, teacher coaching, as well as the LASSO 3 TIL framework support. That is the end of my presentation. Does anybody have any questions?
Board members? Ms. Orfeld?
Sure.
Ms. Zucker, just a question for clarification,
Of course.
perhaps. When we talk about targeted improvement plans at the middle school,
Yes.
one of the things was identifying the curriculum that's used in the 25-26 school year. And 6 through 8 uses, across all 3 grades, uses the McGraw-Hill math. And then 6 RLA with reading language arts, correct? Uses the study sync, and then at 7, 8 we go to Houghton Milfin. Is that something that now that we have 3 middle schools, it would be, is it something where we can just, much like we use McGraw-Hill math for 6 to 8 in 6 to 8 RLA, is that something we can look at to where we would just use the same curriculum so as to provide continuity across from all 3 grades? That way they're not learning one curriculum, or the kiddos don't used to one way it's presented and then the next 2 years it changes. And that's going to be my second question or follow-up to the exact same thing for elementary. K to 2 uses HQIM, and then 3 to 5 uses the McGraw-Hill
Correct.
Wonders. So again, it's the continuity thing I was just curious about.
Yes, Mr. Overfelt, thank you for the question. This Friday, the curriculum committee is going to meet, and we're going to talk about science and social studies. And then the very next job that our curriculum team will present to the curriculum committee is about streamlining some of the curriculum. So that will be the next step. But right now, we just want to finish the science and the social studies and make some recommendations for those areas. But the very next step is to address the consistency of curriculum, especially since teachers are planning together. That would be a good thing to have. But there's a whole lot of discussion before we make that decision. However, we should make it by March.
Okay, yeah,
April.
I was just curious. So with the social studies and science meeting, I'm guessing they will also everyone will try and recommend one that streamlines 6 through 8 at the middle school level, and then K to 5. They're both levels are on the
we're focusing on middle school right now.
Middle school's K to 8, 6 to 8.
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Very good question, Mr. Overfeld, because I was concerned with that. It's kind of confusing because they use different strategies. When you use Blue Bonnet, it's different from McGraw-Hill and so forth. So it's kind of confusing. I hope they do come to a consensus in regard to that. Anyone else with a question?
Of course.
I have a question, and it's in regard to the teacher incentive allotment.
Sure. Mhm.
If a teacher is selected in categories, masters, recognized, and so forth, and they go to an area such as a bilingual situation, they're compensated in a bigger fashion. Dr. Rios, have we had anyone take that approach?
Not yet, Mr. Mesa, but Sandra is going to present on the teacher incentive allotment next, or at least, not next, but under the reports, and we can discuss that with some incentives in a bit.
Yeah, and basically what I want to make sure is that teachers are aware of them being able to receive a larger incentive if they go to areas where they're needed the most, and they've already been proving as either master or recognized teacher, so it would make a big, big difference. So I hope we can accomplish that.
Absolutely. If there are no more questions, I excuse myself. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you so much. Next item we have is reports. Again, item 8C, facilities and construction update. Mr. Hector Chapa.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board. Tonight's presentation shall be very brief. We only have one construction project ongoing, and it's actually pending delivery of materials, which was scheduled for this past Friday. However, today I found out that it will be arriving later on this week. And if that's the case, staff is ready to install the materials, the acoustical panels, during Thanksgiving week. Moving on to the work order status. The maintenance department for the past 3 months, they received 1,304 tickets. 1,140 were closed, a percentage rate of 87. In the past 15 days, 178 were received, 141 were closed, had a closing rate of 79. 16 to 30 days, 207 were received, 182 were closed, 88% closure. 31 to 60 days, 351 were received, 321 were closed with a 91% closure rate. And 61 to 90 days, 568 were received, 496 were closed with a closure rate of 87%. Technology department, the past 90 days, 4,147 tickets were received, 3,836 were closed for a 93% closure rate. Past 15 days, 499 were received, 457 were closed for a closure rate of 92%. 16 to 30 days, 470 tickets were received, 442 were closed with a closure rate of 94%. 31 to 60 days, 1,121 tickets were received, 1,050 were closed with a closure rate of 94%. And 61 to 90 days, 2,057 tickets were received, 1,887 were closed for a closure rate of 92%. Transportation Department, the past 90 days, 270 tickets were received, 221 tickets were closed, 82% closure rate. Past 15 days, 39 tickets were received, 22 were closed, 56% rate closure. 16 to 30 days, 36 tickets were received, 31 were closed for an 86% closure. 31 to 60 days, 113 tickets were received, 94 tickets were closed, 83% closure. And 61 to 90 days, 82 tickets were received, 74 were closed, 90% closure.
Questions for Mr. Chapa? Short report. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No questions. Next item we have is item 8D, Term 2 Attendance and Discipline Report. Any questions from board members?
I do.
Ms. Orfeld? Laura Sandati?
Good evening, ma'am. It'll be for the, it'll just be on the discipline side.
Okay.
There, and perhaps, and Dr. Rios, I'm sure you can also explain. But at the secondary level, now we see probably the biggest number of violations now is violations of the electronics policy, which I'm sure is the whole cell phone thing. So can you remind me, or Dr. Rios, can you remind me what we agreed to as far as, or what we approved was the, when they can have them out or when they can't? Because I know there was, out of one of the San Antonio districts, they had to go back and kind of redo something because what was considered school day and what was not considered school day.
Yes, Mr. Overfelt. The middle schools agreed that the school day encompassed the entire day, from the first bell to the last bell, including passing time and lunchtime. The high school had been allowing students to use the cell phone during the lunchtime, so they described the school day, everything except lunch. However, TA provided some clarification just recently. We are in the process of asking general counsel if we should immediately revert to what the policy described, or if there's some further discussion. We'll probably have an answer in the next couple of days.
Okay, that's what I was curious about. And now that you say that there's kind of two, one for middle school and one for the upper high school grades. So as an example for Delro High and freshmen and not really blended, but ECHS as an example. The ones who are getting caught, to make them wind up on this report, is it because they're using them in class and refusing to turn them over, or what's causing them to
No, sir.
pop up there?
They end up on the list when the phone is confiscated. So, for example,
Like say Delro High School 87
is Cindy Salas or Mr. Thomas here?
or Miss ECH
Can-
or ECHS or
My interpretation is that every single possession is a violation. It's not just on the third time. It's every time it's picked up. So, for example, if you look at the Del Rio freshman campus, this last cycle, there was 40 violations. It very well could be that a student, that one student is represented here 3 times. Okay, but there were 40 total collections of a cell phone.
But I guess what I'm getting at is when they walk into the room, they're not turning it in and then surreptitiously getting caught with it. And of course, that can also include smartwatches and stuff like that.
Correct.
So, okay. Yeah. Then yeah, when after council, I'd be interested to see what general counsel says for that. Okay.
Anyone else? Just a compliment that I'm always so happy to see, the attendance percentage in the 90s, except for blended academy is low, but all the others, elementary and secondary, it's wonderful to see 90% and above. So I applaud all the efforts. Whatever you've been doing is working. And there's two things I mention all the time. At the end of the year, we work with a budget, and ADA means a lot. But more than anything, it's students are in the class, learning, and not at home, not learning, but watching TV or doing something else. So both are good things that happen because, again, it correlates with the grades and so forth, and attendance is so important. Thank you again, principals and assistant principals, for doing a great job on that. Thank you. No further questions? We're done. Thank you. Next report is item 8E, overview of strategic compensation. Sandra Hernandez.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. This evening, I'm going to be sharing with you the strategic compensation. This information that I'm bringing to you is going to sound a little bit familiar because we have some information from this last legislative session, House Bill 2, and how it impacts the TIA. We're going to talk about what strategic compensation is, why strategic compensation, and why enhanced TIA. We're going to look at the cohort structure. So San Felipe del Rio CISD is one of 30 school districts across Texas that will be participating in the strategic compensation. And we're going to look at those outcomes and expectations, and then our next steps. So House Bill 2, the 89th Texas Legislature expanded the TIA program with allowing more Texas teachers, as Mr. Mesa mentioned earlier, to qualify for TIA and increase funding for designated teachers and TIA districts with advanced strategic compensation and staffing systems. There's a new designation. We've heard that new designation is the acknowledged level to align with teachers performing in the top 50% statewide. Also, recognized, exemplary, and master designations were given an increase to allotment amounts. And then also a designation was added to recognize national board certified teachers. So what is strategic compensation? Strategic compensation is performance-based pay systems for teachers, principals, and assistant principals. It is a compensation plan that replaces the traditional step and ladder pay scales with models based on teacher performance and student growth. It is primarily implemented through the Teacher Incentive Allotment Program, and it aims to reward and retain effective educators in high-need schools. For school districts across Texas, they have the opportunity to qualify or participate in an enhanced TIA designation, and it provides an additional 10% increase to their annual TIA allotment. That is provided that in order to do that, they have to earn that designation by building evaluation systems and compensation plans for both teachers and principals based on performance. And so when we look at the definitions that I shared with you a little earlier, here we have them side by side. So strategic compensation is a human resources strategy. And that strategy involves designing and implementing a compensation plan that's strategically aligned to district objectives and the culture of our district. The enhanced TIA is a designation, And so a school district can receive that designation if they apply for and establish a compensation system based on performance. And again, as I shared earlier, once they earn that designation, they're allowed districts to access an additional 10% of funding. So why strategic compensation? And why enhanced TIA? Well, the Texas Education Agency has done several studies for over the past few years, and the teachers, compared to other professions, receive a slower rate of raises than other professions. If we take a look at this particular graph, you'll see that the red line shows that you have a traditional pay step and ladder system. And over the course of time, that 10-year period, you see the next one, which is right above it. This is the revised pay master teacher. That master teacher will, over time, earn $166,000 more than a less effective teacher. In this particular chart, you'll see side by side, you'll see what our traditional compensation district looks like. Typically, our school districts based their pay on years of experience, their degree, salary, and their TIA designation. And so they're given a TIA allotment, and you'll see that there's still a distinction based on their years of experience and their degree, or whatever the case may be that the district chooses. And it takes 15 years to increase their salary by $7,500 over time. Whereas if you look at the strategic compensation district, the strategic compensation district focuses on, yes, their years of experience, but mostly their effectiveness level. And how effective are they in student growth and student outcomes? And so here you'll see the comparison of salaries, $80,000 and $92,000, 5 years, and instead of 15 years, to reach the salary by $12,000 or $132,000 additional earnings over 15 years. So teachers in a strategic compensation district will earn a higher pay much quicker than those in a traditional compensation plan. Here's another example. In this particular chart, if you see the bar at the very bottom, that particular bar identifies the range of pay. If we take a look at each one of the dots that you see there, each one of those dots represents the teacher, and on your y-axis, you'll see student growth. So you'll see that the scatter plot will show a huge distribution and a huge range from teachers who are making the same pay, but the range of the student performance is a huge distribution. So you'll see the student growth, and in comparison, is much wider. Whereas if we look at a teacher who is performing at a much higher, student performance is at a much higher level, may not necessarily get the higher pay. Here is another example. In this particular example, it's looking at a school district. So looking at school districts and looking at a principal performance and looking at their score and looking at the STAR score and student performances at their schools. In this particular example, the wonderings, one begins to wonder when we start looking at our districts, at these districts, is there congruence between the evaluation system and the student outcomes. And so we look at how confident are we, start asking ourselves, how confident are we to make pay decisions in a system where there is not congruence between evaluations and student outcomes. So districts who participate in the enhanced TAA and strategic compensation have a vision. School districts look for these three things. And I want to take you back to our strategic plan. We think about our strategic plan, we talked about wanting to improve student outcomes. That's in our plan. We talk about recruiting and retaining effective educators. And we talk about encouraging educator growth and continuous learning, supporting our teachers so that they can stay in the district and they don't retire, they don't leave to another district. So these are the areas. So what we will be doing next is, as a school district, is defining our vision. Where do we want to be? So the fall cohort, we are part of the fall cohort, as I shared with you before. These are the expectations. So when we take a look at this particular chart, it explains that the first thing that we want to do is to begin to develop a refined administrator evaluation system. So that's your TPES. And for principals and assistant principals. So we'll be focusing on that. We'll be developing and adopting a TIA-compliant teacher evaluation system for all. And then if we look on the opposite end, we also want to adopt an approach to teacher and administrator assignment based on their student need. Earlier, Mr. Mesa mentioned being able to assign teachers where we need them, in schools where we need them. Blend TIA, teacher retention allotment. The TRA is to retain our teachers, and other funding sources to ensure financial sustainability. And then, of course, replacing our traditional step and ladder pay system and transition to one that's based on bands of effectiveness. So looking at student effectiveness, teacher effectiveness, leader effectiveness. And so those are the things, that's the focus for this particular plan. It is a multi-year process. It is not something that's going to get done in 1 year or one semester. This is a 3-year process. And we are actually in year 0. We are just getting it kicked off. And we will see that we will run, this is the fall cohort, so we will run into the next year, year 2. And the very first part of it is commitment. And then the next part of it is going to be making sure that we evaluate and we start analyzing our current system. What does it look like? And how can we improve upon that? So we're going to do an analysis. And then we're going to also engage stakeholders in our discussion as we begin to build this plan. So you'll see the plan is that 3-year plan, where by year 3, we implement the program. We do have a home hardless year, which is that 2nd year. So that allows us time to build the plan, put it into action with no harm, and then refine it, and then implement it in year 3. Of course, we can't do this by ourselves. We have a support team. So our school district is very well supported. In the month, we meet at least 3 times out of the month, and we meet with the Texas Education Agency. I meet with them as the lead. Region 10 is also part of this team of support. And then we work with Steady State, which is a provider who will actually help us in looking at our data. So what are the next steps? Where are we and at what point are we at? Well, we are in a comprehensive system analysis. As I mentioned to you before, one of the first things that we need to do is take a look at our systems. The evaluation system, look at our professional development system, and then, of course, our compensation system, because all these 3 things we need to work on, see where we're needing support, and how do we want to develop it so that when we develop our plan and we submit it to the state, we then have all the things in order for enhanced TIA. Our district is, one of the next steps is that in January, we will be attending a convening on-site, which is that support system in Richardson, Texas. And this is that strategic compensation convening where we'll be meeting with the other 29 school districts across Texas, Texas Education Agency, and our support team. The next step after that, when we come back from, from Richardson, is stakeholder engagement. As you see here, this is going to take, and this is going to consume the second semester. So throughout the second semester, we're going to talk about our vision, we're going to talk about our why, we're going to look at meeting with staff, and we'll have several meetings, a few meetings in which we will dialogue, look at the plan, gain feedback, and be able to then provide and refine a plan that we could submit to the state. And that completes my presentation this evening. Are there any questions?
I'll turn it over to board members. Ms. Orfeld?
I have a couple. Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Reyes, can you remind me what board meeting or how long ago it was that we agreed to enter into this idea?
I'm going to ask Ms. Hernandez to help me out. We discussed it, we presented it at a board meeting. It did not require board action. I'm correct? Is
Correct.
that-
We did not require board action.
It did not require board action. The board will take action when and if we implement the pay systems. But I know that we did discuss it with the board.
Okay. That's what I was getting at. I couldn't remember if we voted or if it was just a discussion. One of the items that we talk about is, I'm just trying to find the page. I guess where it talked about the House Bill 2 goals for strategic compensation. And it talks about developing a refined administrative eval and adopting a TIA compliant teacher eval. So under this, TEA would allow the district to essentially scrap T-tests and the other, and we're going to make our own?
No, sir. We are actually using the T-test and the T-PES models.
If I may, Mr. Overfelt, if I may, these are general guidelines. There are some districts out there that do not use T-test or T-PES. But for those of us that are, then we stick to the plan.
Okay. And then where it talked about the congruence, and it was looking at evaluations and student outcomes, is there, and I don't know if this was pulled from Region 10 and the Texas Strategic Compensation guideline, but 5 of those 6 are the largest counties in Texas. And we can't compare to Dallas or Bear or any stuff like that. So is there any information or data that shows comparable counties to us, particularly along the border?
Mr. Overfelt, these are fictional names. It says a school name, not district name. So it's just fictional names and data to drive a point. I'm sure this data does exist somewhere, but those are just fictional school names
Okay.
to protect the innocent.
Okay. Let's see if I had anything else. No, that was it. I was just curious on those.
Anyone else? Mr. Alino?
So just, if you can just reiterate how, not go through the whole thing, but I'm talking about the payout. So the actual structure, the pay structure would not kick in till 27, 28? Is that correct?
Correct. We would be going through a process, and through this process, it's development where we would work with stakeholders. We'll be looking at our own data, assessing our data, developing a plan, and before we even get to the end, we would be presenting that to the board later as a plan.
But the current TIA is unaffected.
Correct.
The current TIA continues.
Okay.
It's not affected.
Correct. It doesn't alter the current TIA system at all.
Okay.
Anyone else? I just want to say this conversation with TIA started a long time ago, and we're going in a great direction. So we're not at ground zero. TIA has already been issued to teachers that are recognized, masters, acknowledged. Acknowledged is a new category this year. But I just want to say one thing. I served as principal for 24 years, and there were at times, I wish I could write a book. A teacher would have a folder, August, September, October, November, the same lessons for every year. No growth. Every year you get a different group of students, challenging, some that you go and you have to research, your answer for some of these students that asking questions above and beyond. So this is the best thing we can do as far as performance. We heard it at the state level with TASB, that the college prep program for principals, administrators is changing. It's all going in this direction to make sure that we have the best teachers and that we keep the best teachers. And now we're trying to place those teachers in areas where there are some gaps so we can make the gains in student growth. So it's a great program. When I go to my spring meetings in San Angelo and so forth, I always ask, how many of you have implemented the TIA program? Very few. So it takes a lot of work, and I'm so grateful that administration with Dr. Rios went into the TIA program, and we have it in full force, and we continue to improve the program. So it's a wonderful thing. Just want to applaud the efforts of everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item we have is consent agenda. Again, one action will approve all items on the consent agenda. There are some minutes of some meetings and some purchase orders. If there's any question on any item, would you please bring it up at this time, Mr. Galindo?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mesa. Just under the purchase orders, under F2,
F2.
in reference to the box truck, F3 and F4, it's more of just we can get a timeline. F2 and F4 are purchase of utility trucks and a box truck, and then F3, what's the timeline to get those HVACs installed, and will that affect operation at the school?
Dr. Rios? F2 is consideration to approve purchase order or $25,000 to Rockdale Country Ford Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $83,550. Funding source, Fund 199 General Funds, warehouse for the purchase of a box truck with a lift for the district warehouse.
As Mr. Mesa and board members, it's my understanding that the vehicles that we are purchasing do not have to be created or assembled, especially on F4. So it should not take us too long to receive them. And as far as F3, Amistad Heating is really good about working with us so that we don't do this installation during the day, and when we turn off units to install new ones, that work can be done over the weekend. So we would not affect school operations at all unless Mr. Chapa has any additional information.
F3 has to do with Amistad Heating and Air Conditioning. The amount not to exceed $58,400 for replacement of 10-ton HVAC unit at the cafeteria and 3-ton units in classrooms at Ruben Chavita Elementary.
Good evening once again, President Mesa. The 3-ton units are readily available, so the plan is to install, like Dr. Rio said, after hours and on weekends. The 10-ton unit does take a couple weeks lead time, but it's the same implementation after hours and on weekends to install.
Perfect.
Okay, great. Anyone
you for
else? Just want to say that, again, one action item will approve all items on the consent agenda. As always, we are appreciative of all the donations, either by individuals or organizations. We'll list the donations under social media. Again, thank you for supporting our district and the different programs that we have throughout the district. At this time, I will entertain a motion for approval. Mr. Olindo made a motion, seconded by Amy Haynes, to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Mr. President, can I make a comment?
Yes, Dr. Rios.
Earlier, when the Education Foundation was presenting, and they presented the success of both the Adventure on the Creek and the dinner, I wanted to mention at the time that those are two very successful events, and they're a whole lot of fun and have a high participation. But we cannot put those events on without the help of our athletic department and our operations department. The foundation treated the operations team to barbecue on Friday in appreciation for all the work they did. And I guess we haven't done anything for the athletic department, Coach Ray, but we will, sir. I just wanted to say that those are very exciting events, very well organized, but we just couldn't do it without all the work.
I think he meant something like money. Well, thank you to everyone that participated. Again, it just so happened to be the opening of deer season, sir. Okay, we're down to administration, item 10A, canvassing the 2025 school bond election. Sandra Hernandez.
Good evening once again, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. The 2025 school bond election was held on Tuesday, November the 4th, 2025. In accordance with the Texas election laws, the canvassing cannot occur until early voting ballot board has verified and counted all provisional and mail-in ballots. In accordance with Texas education laws, the San Felipe Del Rio CISD Board of Trustees serves as a canvassing board, and the canvassing of the election results for the school bond election held on Tuesday, November the 4th, 2025, is taking place this evening. So whereas the Board of Trustees of the San Felipe Del Rio CISD ordered an election to be held in the district on November the 4th, 2025, on the proposition hereinafter stated, whereas the Board of Trustees of the district, the board, has investigated all matters pertaining to said election, including the ordering, giving notice, officers, holding, and making returns of said election, and whereas the election officers who held said election have duly made the returns of the result thereof, and said returns have been duly delivered to the board. You have these election results in your folders, in your packets, at your dais. Therefore, be it ordered that by the Board of Trustees of the San Felipe Del Rio Consolidated Independent School District, that the board officially finds and determines that the said election was duly ordered, proper notice of said election was duly given, proper election officers were duly appointed prior and to said election was duly held, the district has complied with the applicable laws, including the Texas Election Code, due returns of the result of the said election have been made and delivered, and the board has duly canvassed and said returns in accordance with the law. And so the board officially finds and determines that the following votes were cast at the said election and the submitted proposition. 1,435 for, 1,889 against the proposition. At this time, the Board of Trustees, as we submit the recommendation, It is a recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the official election summary of the school bond election held on Tuesday, November the 4th, 2025, as presented.
Any questions for Sandra? Then you have heard the recommendation. I'll entertain a motion for approval. Motion made by Becky Chavez, seconded by Diego Almaraz. All those in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Item 10B, consideration to approve the 2025-2026 targeted improvement plans, local improvement plans for identified campuses. Mr. Carlos Barrera.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board. In accordance with the Texas Education Code 39.106 and the Texas Administrative Code 97.1061, campuses identified for school improvement are required to develop and implement improvement plans under the supervision of district leadership in collaboration with campus staff based on data analysis and needs assessments aligned with the Texas continuous improvement process. The submission to the Texas Education Agency and implementation of these plans shall require board approval to authorize the superintendent to submit the plans to TEA. San Felipe Del Rio CISD campuses identified for targeted improvement or local improvement were presented earlier this evening and are as follows. Garfield Middle School, Del Rio Middle School, San Felipe Memorial Middle School for targeted improvement. Buena Vista Elementary, Ruben Chavira Elementary for local improvement. San Felipe Del Rio CISD and all campuses listed are supported by Region 15 under the LASSO 3 Texas Instructional Leadership or TIL grant as presented. Are there any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Barrera? Hearing none, the recommendation.
It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the targeted improvement and local improvement plans for Garfield Middle School, Del Rio Middle School, San Felipe Memorial Middle School, Buena Vista Elementary, and Ruben Chavira Elementary, and authorize the superintendent or designee to submit the plans to the Texas Education Agency and oversee implementation.
You've heard the recommendation from administration. I'll entertain a motion for approval. Motion made by Mr. Galindo, seconded by Amy Haynes. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, sir. Go on to the next item, 11A, consideration to adopt the Early Childhood Literacy Mathematics Proficiency Plan under Texas Education Code 11.185 and the College Career and Military Readiness Plan under Texas Education Code 11.186. HB 3 goals as presented at the October 27, 2025 school board meeting. Jane Villarreal.
Good evening, Board President Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board. Texas Education Code Section 11.185 states that Board of Trustees of each school district shall adopt and post on the district's website the Early Childhood Literacy and Mathematics Proficiency Plans, along with the Texas Education Code 11.186. We shall also adopt college, career, and military readiness plans that set annual goals for the following 5 school years to reach goals of measures for reading and math, and then, of course, for measures of student, college, career, and military readiness at each campus. Each plan must have or identify annual goals for students in each group evaluated under the Closing the Gaps domain under Section 39.053. Include goals for aggregate student growth determined by the Board of Trustees, provide for targeted professional development for classroom teachers in kinder, first, second, or third grade that may not be meeting the plan's goals. Assign at least one district level administrator to coordinate implementation of the plan, submit the annual report to the Board of Trustees on the district's progress towards the goals set under the plan. The plans also must be reviewed annually by the Board of Trustees at a public meeting, and the school district shall post the annual report on the district's website and those of each campus of the district.
Any questions for Ms. Villarreal? Going to read the recommendation, please?
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees adopt the Early Childhood Literacy and Mathematics Proficiency Plan under TEC Section 11.185 and the College, Career, and Military Readiness Plans under TEC Section 11.186, also known as the House Bill 3 goals, as presented at the October 27, 2025 school board meeting.
Further recommendation? Is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Ms. Sorrellfeld, seconded by Becky Chavez. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Go on to Human Resources, item 14 on your agenda. Item A, discussion possible action to approve employee job descriptions and evaluation forms. Amy Childress. This is for lead vehicle mechanic and transportation mechanic foreman. It's an update.
Yes, sir. Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. This evening, administration is asking for approval. We have brought to you 2 job descriptions. The first is an update to the lead vehicle mechanic. We would like to update that to a transportation mechanic foreman. The second job description is a new one for the deputy superintendent of business services.
Okay, that includes 2 different positions, okay? Deputy Superintendent of Business Services, which is a new one. So I hope everyone understands that. Okay. Questions? No questions.
Yes, sir.
Want to read the recommendation, please?
It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the employee job descriptions, evaluation forms, and revised job classification schedule as discussed.
For the recommendation, is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Ms. Sorrellfeld, seconded by Mr. Diego Almaraz. All those in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item B, consideration to approve the conversion of a lead vehicle mechanic position to transportation mechanic foreman in the transportation department.
Good evening once again. So with the approval of the updated job description, yes, administration is asking for approval to convert the lead mechanic position to the transportation mechanic foreman position.
Questions for Amy? None? Do you want to read the recommendation?
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the conversion of lead mechanic position to transportation mechanic foreman in the transportation department.
For the recommendation, is there a motion for approval? Motion by Ms. Sorrellfeld, seconded by Diego Almaraz. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Item 14C, consideration to approve the updated 2025-2026 district compensation plans. Amy Childress.
Good evening once again. On our compensation plan, under administrative professional pay plan, on page 218, we are updating under pay grade 10 to include that originally it just had deputy superintendent, and it's now going to read deputy superintendent of business services. And then on page, 221, under the auxiliary, we are removing the vehicle mechanic lead from pay grade 7 and moving it to the pay grade 8 for the transportation mechanic foreman. And then on page 223, under the supplemental stipends, under lead counselors, we are adding an additional secondary lead counselor, and we are splitting the 2 secondary lead counselors between grade 6, one for grades 6 through 8 and one for grades 9 through 12.
Questions for Amy? So this is a new one. The lead counselor?
The lead, we already had one elementary and one secondary, and we are adding an additional secondary lead counselor.
6 through 8.
For the 6 through 8, and one will handle 9 through 12, yes.
Mr. Orfeld?
So this is intended to put a lead counselor over 6 through 8?
If I may clarify, Mr. Mesa, the purpose is not to have a counselor supervise the activities at the campuses. Instead, Ms. Hernandez oversees the counselors and all the activities and all the trainings, but she needs help in disseminating the information and the conversations. So it's just a stipend position to help with trainings at the district level and organizations of some state requirements. And I believe the stipend is at 3,000?
1,970.
So 1,000.
Okay, but, because I'm confused. We're supposed to have a lead counselor at the high school. We're saying we're going to have the lead one over 6, 7, 8 over the 3, or we're just going to now actually make that designation, even though we had the designation before, and now it's going to have a stipend?
No, sir. The lead counselor at the high school is specifically for the high school. This lead counselor for 9th through 12, it's just again about trainings and coordination, but that 9th through 12 is freshman, early college, high school, blended, and Del Rio High School. It's for district coordination. So there's no duties related to the campus specifically. Instead, it's district duties to assist Ms. Sandra Hernandez in trainings and coordination.
But we're talking 6 through 8.
Yes, sir, but I'm just explaining to Mr. Overfelt what the high school counselor will do, and obviously the 6th grade counselor will do the same. They will not coordinate any specific campus duties. They're assisting with training and overall coordination.
Okay.
Ms. Chavez also has a question,
Yes,
sir.
I would
So-
say, if I'm understanding correctly, this is to assist Ms. Hernandez
Correct.
to assist and help out with
Yes,
the
ma'am.
duties or the
Yes, ma'am.
responsibilities of.
If the board would like, Mr. Mesa, we can ask Ms. Hernandez to come forward and just say 2 or 3 sentences about
Sure.
those activities at the district level.
Ms. Chavez, would you get your microphone so we can,
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you. So we had one elementary lead counselor and one secondary lead counselor. The secondary lead counselor would help assist all of the counselors from 6 through high school. The need is to emphasize and to help support high school with CCMR to be able to provide them with the level of support that they need at that particular age group and separate middle school and providing that level of support intended for middle school counselors. So there is a distinction with the level of work that our high school counselors do because they're preparing their students for graduation and CCMR, obviously. And so they need some support. And this is a district level support system to make sure that they have the required trainings and level of state level trainings and needs to be able to help them in their areas.
Okay, so you state that right now, we have a lead counselor, high school down to 6, and we have a lead counselor that oversees elementary.
That is correct.
And this stipend will be a stipend to have a lead counselor at 9 through 9UP and ECHS to help with disseminating training information and all of that fun stuff, completely separate from the existing lead counselor, and one for 6 through 8. It'll just be a stipend position to help disseminate information over the 3 middle schools to the counselors at the 3 middle schools.
Right, and not just disseminate information, but ensure, and I'll give you a perfect example, pregnancy-related services, making sure that we have services that they are aligned in the PEMS, and making sure that all of the areas that are just in the area for high school students that pertain in that particular age group, having to have somebody that is the lead person that will help support that group of counselors.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? You're okay, Becky? Okay. All right, we can go on. So Amy, that was the last thing, the stipend?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, being that no further questions, would you read the recommendation, please?
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the updated 2025-2026 district compensation plans as presented.
Heard the recommendation, I'll entertain a motion for approval of Mr. Alido, seconded by Diego Almaraz. All those in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, the time is 7:23 PM. We're going to go into closed session pursuant to 551.074 and 551.071 of the Texas Education Code. If any action is required, it will be taken upon reconvening to open session. We're now in closed session. Okay, the time is 8:12 PM. We're reconvening to open session. No action was taken in executive. We're down to item 18A, consideration to approve the personnel report to include the following: new hires, district vacancies, retirements, resignations. Amy Childress.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the retirements, resignations, and vacancies as discussed in closed session and the following new personnel: Samantha Valdez de Leon, science teacher at the Student Guidance and Learning Center.
Questions for Amy? None. Recommendation?
It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the retirements, resignations, and vacancies as discussed in closed session and the following new personnel: Samantha Valdez de Leon, science teacher at the Student Guidance and Learning Center.
For the recommendation, is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Amy Haynes, seconded by Emilio Galindo. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Item B, consideration to approve the position of speech language pathologist assistant with the Special Education Department. Amy Childress.
It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve Gabriela Garcia for speech language pathologist assistance with the Special Education Department.
For the recommendation, is there a motion? Motion made by Mr. Orfeld, seconded by Mr. Diego Almaraz. All those in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item C, consideration to approve the salary adjustments. Amy Childress.
It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the salary adjustments as discussed in closed session.
For the recommendation, is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Becky Chavez, seconded by Mr. Orfeld. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Item D, possible action regarding settlement of hail damage claim with the Texas Association of School Boards. Dr. Carlos Rios.
Mr. Mesa, members of the board, it is the recommendation of the administration that the board approve the hail damage claim settlement with the Texas Association of School Boards as discussed in closed session, and that you allow the superintendent to sign the settlement agreement.
For the recommendation, there's a motion from Mr. Galindo, seconded by Mr. Diego Almaraz. All those in favor? Motion carries. There being no other items on the agenda, is there a motion for adjournment? Mr. Overfelt and Mr. Diego Almaraz, seconded. All in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you very much.